welcome to another episode of the God is a Geek podcast. It's been a while, but we're back in style. Here's... I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm Chris White. Joining me this week, Mr. Gary Bailey. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff. And Miss Nicola Ardron, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much for asking.
Brilliant. Good. Well, I'm glad we're all okay. We're all good. It's quite a quiet period of games, really. There's not lots out, but there's enough to kind of chat about. I want to kind of crack on straight with a game from our past that isn't Crash Bandicoot, but we will get to that. But Micro Machines. Now, we've all played it. Nicola, you reviewed it, so I'll start with you. Your general impressions of Micro Machines?
A bit disappointed.
What are they?
A bit disappointed,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Feeling very flat about it, if I'm honest.
It's not how I remember.
No. Well, first of all, it doesn't have a single player, championship mode, which I think is a glaring omission. It just feels really, it feels really, it feels like a grubby cash kind of grab. And I don't know whether I'm being unfair to Codemasters here, but it does feel a little grubby. It's really slimmed down. There's only like 12 vehicles. There's not that many maps. It's just got some hideous brand placement, Nerf brand placement everywhere. I don't know. It just feels really not good. And the handling, I think Gary can talk about that in a bit more detail, but I just felt like the handling was awful. It's a weird mixture of like really sluggish and heavy and then really floaty at the same time, which is a really odd mix. It just, I don't know. I mean, there is a little bit of fun to be had. I've played a few games online with a pal, and it's been, amusing, but it's just not what I'd hoped for, really.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, handling-wise, I mean, I completely agree with you, Nick. I think the controls are exactly how they used to be. Like, it's exactly how you used to control it in the old games, but it's not right. There's something off about it. Yeah. Getting around corners isn't as, you could really kind of pinpoint your accuracy around those corners back in the day, and it just feels like there's a game of chance there. It's just, you don't feel like you're ever really in full control, and when there's a lot going on and there's cars racing past you using the power-ups, you just left in the dark of it. I just don't think you've got full control. But obviously, Gary, you play a lot of racing games. How do you feel?
I was the same. I just felt it's like there's too much physics to it. It's not a game that should be sort of realistic in any way, really. But it's like that's what they've gone for. So you turn a corner a little too fast and it slows you down, and I don't know. You struggle to get the car pointing in like a straight line when you're going down a straight and stuff like that. It just, I just couldn't get to grips with it at all. And I mean, I've not played loads of it, but I don't think there are any like AI options. So when you're racing against the AI, they just leave you for dead, basically.
Oh, they do, don't they? I mean, they are absolutely, they're insane. I haven't beaten AI once. I mean, the highest on the races, the highest I've come is like mid-table, and everybody above me is AI. And then in the battle modes, which I actually quite like, even though they're a bit of a departure from the usual Micro Machines stuff, the AI in that are just ridiculous. They're just absolutely ridiculous. And you can't, like you say, go, okay, well, I'll just play against rookie bots. They're just, it's one size fits all, and they're insane. They're absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean the online, when I got online, there was only like a few real players playing at the time, but there's up to like 12 racers, I think, or 10 or something like that. But you can be like second, third place, and then as soon as you get hit or you knock into something, they all come flying around the corner past you, and then you're into 12th. No one's ever got a solid lead. You never feel like even if you are second, third, you never feel like you've got it in the bag. Which isn't a bad thing, but I think there's too much
Yeah,
luck involved. And
Mario
you can't,
Kart did it better.
Yes, precisely.
That's got the balance right.
They exactly, with all the power ups, there was perfect balance. Yeah, whereas this, they've just not got it right, and it feels all over the place a bit. I mean, there are some good points. The design of the levels is excellent. There's some really good designs, and it does remind you back in the day of the beans on the table and stuff like that, and then the stationery, and the kind of, there's like the breakfast table. There's is it a dog or a cat looking up at the table? It looks nice in parts, and it isn't a terrible game, but it's just disappointing. I think we were all expecting that old kind of feel Micro Machines, but we haven't, and there's so many emissions in it that it's just a bit bizarre. And like with the championship mode, that was one of the best things, where you get 4 races, you have a tournament table, and you'd be playing against Spider and Jethro and all of them lot. Which there's none of that. You never feel like you're actually racing it, and the only way you know who they are is by just a name over the car and the image. I don't know. It doesn't feel very personable, and it doesn't feel like it respects the series. I don't know. I'm just disappointed with it. Yeah. It's just a bit of a shame, really. I was just hoping for a bit more.
Yeah, it's just got none of the character of the old ones. It feels like, I think I said this on the Slack channel, it feels like they've taken the Overwatch formula, just copy and pasted it into Micro Machines, and it just doesn't quite fit.
What you mean with the loot boxes?
Yeah, and you've it's all set up for online, and the single player stuff is kind of by the wayside, really. It's not really a thing. And it works in Overwatch because it's that kind of game, but with Micro Machines it should kind of be the other way around. The single player should be front and center, and then you have all the multiplayer stuff on the side. And
it just feels really stripped down, doesn't it? And it's like I get the feeling that Codemasters had to pay a huge whack to Hasbro to get the branding, and basically all the budget has gone on actually being allowed to use the Micro Machines name. And it's meant that it's meant that they've delivered a stripped down game. And like I say, I may be being unfair to Codemasters here, but that is kind of what it feels like. And like I say, the Nerf stuff. I mean, initially I was like, I didn't even realise what it was initially, because I just saw Nerf everywhere, and I thought, oh, it's just part of the map. But then I was like, well, why is it on a breakfast table? Why is it on a blooming billiards table? What's going on? And then I realised it's like, oh my, it kind of like then just stuck in my craw a little bit, and I'm like, this is a bit gross. It's actually a little bit gross playing this. As I said, I think I said in my review, I said it feels like I'm playing an advert, a commercial, rather than a game, and I don't know, I just feel a little like it's a bit grubby.
Yeah, it's not the best. Obviously, people let us know what you think on Twitter or whatever, but I mean, we're generally just a bit underwhelmed by it. It's a shame, because it's been a long time since Micro Machines came out, and I think with the announcement, we've just assumed it was going to be a lot better, and there'd be a bit more fan service there. But
and of course, we've talked a lot of times on the pod about there seems to be a real lack of fun arcadey type races, and I was kind of really hoping that Micro Machines was going to fill that gap, and it unfortunately it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But when we talk about fun, exciting games, chess doesn't always spring to mind. However, when I saw the trailer for this, I was quite excited in a weird way, because it's chess. It's not like arcade chess. There's not like big rockets flying everywhere and flashing lights, but it looks gorgeous. But anyway, I haven't played it. Gary, you have. You reviewed it.
Yep.
What's it like?
It's very good. It's chess. You can't really sugarcoat it. It's just chess, but it's just done in a really good way, and there's so many AI options, unlike the last game we were just talking about. There's 10 AI levels. And they obviously range from, I think novice is the very first one, which you can easily beat, but it goes all the way up to Grandmaster, and I had no chance. There's no way I'd beat Grandmaster, basically.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of options outside of just playing a game of chess. There's like the puzzles of like the challenge modes. So you start off with mate in 1, which basically it sets up the pieces in a certain way, and it challenges you with finding the right piece to move in the right place to get checkmate in 1 move. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite difficult when you just your brain's got to think like 2 moves ahead kind of thing. And that goes all the way up to mate in 7, I think was the last one. And that one obviously is a lot more difficult because you've got to think 7 moves ahead. You got to think which way have I got to go to get to mate, and it boggles the mind sometimes. And on top of that, it's really pretty. Stupidly pretty. Considering they've rendered like entire rooms, or in like a museum that was one of the levels, and even like outside and in the halls they've rendered like the statues.
I remember reading your review saying about that, the crackling fire in the corner, like that appeals to me. Like I like that. I like the calmness of it. It's quite nice to just go and have a round of chess if you fancy it. But I can imagine it being pretty fantastic in VR as well, because I mean you can look around the rooms, can't you? And you can, whilst you're playing, and that I can imagine that being really immersive. Yeah,
that's the only downside when you're not playing in VR. You can't really look around. You can sort of orbit around the actual table, but that's it. You're always sort of looking at the board rather than the distance. So when you're not playing in VR, you don't really get to take it in as much. Except like before the game, it sort of just shows you little shots of where you're playing. But other than that, you're kind of forced to look at the board, which that's kind of the point. But it would be nice to at least look around now and again.
Yeah,
but the level of detail is ridiculous, though.
Can you play like famous matches from past, or are there any kind of famous chess players you get to play as?
Funnily enough, yes.
What is it? Have they got Kasparov versus Topalov of 1999? The fantastic match that everyone remembers.
Oh yeah.
Or is
it's always in front of my mind, that, Chris.
The Bern Fischer game of 1956 was just mind blowing. Or the Ivanchuk versus Yusupov of 91. There's so many to choose from. I was just curious if any of those were featuring.
Oh, you seem to have done your research on this one a little bit.
Mate, I've been a fan of chess since I was 3. I've been in the World Champions under a different name, but I can't go into that right now. It's top secret. I was just curious, but in all seriousness, are there kind of
there are
these scenarios where you get to delve back into time of chess past?
Yeah, I mean
and kind of play them.
They go back to, I think it's the 1800s is like the first one.
Oh bloody hell! Right.
Like all the way through. There's quite a lot of them, and I mean, for me, I had no idea. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't really follow chess. I hadn't actually played it for probably about 20 years before before playing this game. But luckily, there's a nice tutorial that teaches you the basics and some more other stuff as well to help jog the memory. Or I think if you don't know how to play chess, you'll soon learn. But it's nice to be able to play the challenges of the old matches as well, because again, it's a similar way to like the other puzzles. It sets it up at a certain point in the match and then challenges you to win it, basically. It's really good. There's a lot more content to it than you'd expect from a chess game.
Awesome.
Just a shame that there's not there's tournaments in it, but none versus the AI. It's only online.
Oh, really?
Considering you've got 10 AI levels, you would have thought,
seems a bit
let's use
pointless,
them.
Yeah.
But other than that, fantastic game.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you gave it a 9, which is quite impressive.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I'll give it a go once it's reduced a bit. I'm not sure what the price is at the moment.
It's only a tenner, I think it is.
A tenner?
Yeah, it's very cheap.
Okay. I'm tempted then.
Still too rich for my blood, that.
Well, Nick, you've been previewing Avon Colony.
I have, yeah.
which looks amazing, and your preview made it sound really cool. I kind of love these kind of games anyway. So yeah, go for it.
Well, it's a city builder, but it's in space. You're sorry. You're like a colony bod who, and basically your colony is trying to colonize an alien land that has been named Avon Prime. And the campaign mode, I mean, for purposes of the preview, I was restricted to the first 2 campaign missions, but it's got, gosh, off the top of my head, I can't remember, probably about 10 campaign missions by the looks of it. And it seems that you're going to be tasked with moving through the different colonies that are on Avon Prime, and obviously making those a success. So the first mission is you're in kind of a lush area with lots of resources around you. And the second area, you're in a kind of desert, so growing crops and finding water is a little harder. But I mean, if you've played a city builder before, it doesn't really offer you anything new in that sense. You still got the kind of familiar, resource requirements. You need water, you need to grow crops. You need to make sure that your air filtration is good, because you can't breathe the atmosphere, it would seem. So you need to create, air, correct air ventilation and that kind of thing. And I just, it's quite pretty. And I just found it really relaxing. I quite like city builders. I've played SimCity. I've not played City Skylines, which I do fancy actually, and I've seen it's been released on Xbox a couple of months back, hasn't it? So I do fancy that one. There's a little less emphasis on trying to make, a real fancy town, if you like, or a city, make it pretty. Because I feel like SimCity is more about, good city design, whereas this is more about just ensuring that your resources, your resources and stuff like that. That seems to be, it's more about survival than making being like a super town planner. I found it quite relaxing, really. It's quite nice. There's lots of difficulty levels. Just played it on normal, but I think there's like 7 different difficulty levels, so there's plenty to challenge you. I'm trying to tell a bit of a story. There's a bit of an overarching story that ran through the first campaign mission and then continued on to the second. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out as well. But yeah, it's quite a competent city builder, really. There's a few niggles with it. With stuff like that, you've always got lots of controls, haven't you? And they're more comfortable on a PC, these types of things, because you've got, the keyboard to be able to play with. So the radial menu that you get given can be a bit confusing, as well as sort of managing various overlay menus, to see where your crop distribution is, or where the best water distribution is, where crime's highest, all these kinds of things. So I'm looking forward to playing it a bit more, actually.
Was it on Xbox?
It was, yeah. I believe, is it? I can't remember if it's going to be a universal launch across PC,
right? Okay.
Xbox and PS4 all at the same time. I seem to think that it's been in early access on Steam for a bit, but I don't know if I'm making that up. I can't remember, because I'm not. I don't, as you know, I don't really play on PC, so I don't really know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not out. I think it's out later on this month, a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool. So that's one game in July. I can't really think of anything else that's coming out.
No, it's the sort of dry period, isn't it, for games? Yeah. And then it just all goes mad again, doesn't it? Around September time.
Oh God, yeah.
It's going to go bonkers.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to put a game down on the list, guys. I've completely forgot to talk. I've been reviewing a game called That's You.
Oh.
Which is part of the PlayStation Plus lineup, I believe, for July. So it's not actually out yet, but it will be out. It's kind of like Jackbox. I don't know if you've ever played Jackbox Party Pack.
No.
Any of those games. So it's a party game where you can play with up to 5 of your friends. But I don't have 5 friends, so it was mainly just me and my wife. But it's pretty cool. The games are based on 4 kind of rounds. The first, well, three parts. There's 2 questions which are kind of choice A, choice B kind of questions, and it'll basically ask you something like, if your friend was going to a rock concert, would they prefer to go to like an underground bar or a like full arena? Which is kind of like your bland, basic questions. And then it'll ask you things like, if you went on a date with your girlfriend and there was a guy sat in front in the cinema with a hat on, would you A, tell him to take his hat off, or B, get your girlfriend to move with you so you can see the screen? That kind of stuff. So you've got those 2 questions, and if you and your friend both guess that right, you get points. And then the next kind of round is a picture round, which will give you an image and you have to draw something onto it. Both you and your friends will do that, and you'll get points for whoever selects the better one. And then the final round, which is kind of the coolest, is a selfie round, where the game will give you a face to pull, and you both have to pull that face. So you can imagine it being quite amusing if you proper go for it. And it's quite a cool game. There's not a lot more to it, to be honest. So it makes the perfect kind of PS Plus game, because once you've played it for an hour or 2, it does start to get a bit dull. The questions, there's a lot of questions, don't get me wrong, but it's still quite bland. It's like Jackbox is quite a varied game, which gives you lots of different kind of games to play within it, whereas this is just that's it, and then yeah. So I just thought I'd mention it because it's worth getting if you are getting a PS Plus. It's only going to be about £15 anyway, but yeah, if you're looking for a party game, it's going to be free in July, so it's certainly worth giving it a go.
Cool.
Which quite possibly is today.
It sounds a bit like Mr. and Mrs. or whatever, doesn't it? It's like how well you know your pals.
It is. That's exactly what I thought. I've put that in the review, actually, how it reminds me of that. No Philip Schofield, though. Just an annoying American voiceover who isn't funny but tries to be funny. Which kind of just annoys you, because the space between rounds is quite long, so you've got this voice trying to be funny, making jokes, and you just want him to shut up and get on with it. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But moving on, and this is a kind of game I wanted to play, and I've put barely any time into it because I just haven't had the chance. But Marvel Heroes Omega,
yeah,
which I believe is the title, because it's right in front of me.
Something like that.
Yeah. What's it like? Because have you ever played the DC Superheroes online?
I haven't.
Because it reminds me of that. But I mean, obviously you've played a lot more of it, Nick. So how is it?
It's all right. Did you play Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah.
It's like that, really, but it's free to
All
play.
Right. Okay.
So it's just sort of asymmetric, top down. No, it's not top down, really. Yeah, asymmetric. It's like a Diablo, basically.
Ah, right. Yeah. Cool.
Free to play. Superheroes, punching stuff, getting loot. That's it, basically. That's it.
A lot of grinding.
Yeah.
That kind of
stuff.
Stuff.
It's got a massive grind. I kind of got bullied to download it by one of my pals, and I'm enjoying playing it. It's not necessarily a game that I would sit down and play on my own, because I can't be arsed with the grind, and it just, there is a big grind in it. But when you're sort of playing with your friends, I quite like it. It's kind of a bit mindless. You don't really have to think much.
Yeah.
There's plenty of heroes to choose from as well. I mean, you get given, when you download it, you get given a free one, which is Daredevil.
Right.
He's a bit boring, to be honest, but you know, it also gives you enough of the in-game currency to be able to buy one of the cheaper heroes. So I bought Storm with mine.
Yes.
She's like 500 of this in-game currency, Eternity Splinters or something, I think they call it. So I bought Storm, and she's a lot more exciting to use. But I understand that if you play through the campaign with one of the heroes, then you should have enough Eternity Splinters after you finish the campaign and maybe done a bit of the post-game stuff, post-campaign stuff, to then buy another one, and then you can just start all over again. I've nearly finished the campaign with Daredevil. I've got one last chapter to finish, so I don't really know what the end game is yet. But I expect that it's going to be the grind, where you're just doing events or, challenge modes or whatever, just grinding out to get higher gear. And that's all these games are, really, isn't it? It's just about getting leveled gear. So
how long have you spent in the campaign so far?
It's fairly lengthy, It's about 9 or 10 chapters long, and I'd say...
All right.
Some chapters take a little bit longer than others, but I'd say it's probably, let's say it's an hour per chapter. It's 10 hours campaign.
That's not bad for free,
I may have
really.
over-exaggerated that, because me and my friend have got sidetracked repeatedly.
Yeah.
So let's say it's taken me 10 hours. But I think, if you're not... because there's kind of big open areas that you have to get, wade through until you get to the point in the story where you can kind of go off and you're separated then from the rest of the players, and you and your pal are doing that particular story mission. But before you get there, there's the big open areas where everybody's playing, and there's lots going on in there that can kind of distract you. There's plenty of enemies to fight through to get to the campaign point. And then there's also like triggered events in that community space that you get sidetracked by as well. So I think 10 hours is probably because I've been sidetracked. I think the actual campaign's probably maybe half that. I don't know, really. I'm not very good at judging how long I've played a game. It feels like I've been playing it for ages. But unfortunately, like the PS4 doesn't have the same level of detail in the social areas as the Xbox does, because on Xbox you can just go to time played and it'll show you how long you've played in a game. It's not so easy to do that on PS4, so I don't actually know how long I've spent with it. But there again, I have also, as well as been leveling up Daredevil, playing the campaign, I've also got Storm to like level 22, and I've played with a few of the other characters. You can play with each character up to level 10 before it sort of caps it at level 10, and then you have to buy that character if you want to continue to play with them past that level. So there's plenty of ways that you can get some fun out of it. And as I say, you should have enough of the in-game currency to be able to buy a character. Once you've done a decent amount of time with one of the others. So, but as with all of these free to play stuff, there's like about 7 different in-game currencies. I'm trying to work out what they all are. So I'm just kind of flitting about in it at the moment. I don't know how long I'll play it for, but because it's not, as I say, it's not generally my kind of bag. The free to play model I find a bit tedious. Is that because I've been playing Paladins. I've been playing Paladins as well, although I haven't played it for a week or so, with the same pal. And I quite like Paladins. It's no Overwatch, but it's got a free to play model as well, and that kind of grind that's in there to get the in-game stuff. It just gets a bit tedious, and I'm such a tight arse that I won't spend real money, even though I've got the game for free. I'm awful. I'm just the worst.
Gary, you keen on this?
I don't know, really. I think I'd be more likely to play the DC one at some point, but knowing that it's like the old school top-down style game, like Diablo and like the old Baldur's Gate games and stuff like that, makes me a little bit more interested. But yeah, I'm kind of like Nicola. I don't like the free to play model, especially when it sounds like it's very grindy. And although it does sound nice that you do at least get to play as the other characters if you want for a set amount of time. But maybe I might give it a go at some point.
Like I said, you get Daredevil for free, so you can play through the campaign as Daredevil, and it gave me enough splinters to be able to buy Storm. And from what I can gather, Storm is one of the better characters anyway, and she's one of the cheaper ones. I think she cost me 500, because they range from like 200 splinters to buy 500, and then like Rocket Raccoon and Wolverine and people like that are 750. So Storm was 500, and as I say, she's pretty powerful. From what I can, gather from various folk, that Storm is one of the better characters to take to endgame and use as a kind of main for doing the big grind. So it's not an onerous grind. I guess it depends on what you want to get out of it, really. As I say, I don't know how much longer I'll play it. I mean, I might just, play with Storm and see what the end game gives me. And then the idea of then doing the campaign over and over another sort of 20 times with the remaining heroes doesn't really fill me with much glee, if I'm honest. But
no,
we'll see. Like I say, I'm enjoying playing it with my friends, so it's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
I suppose because Wes, friend of the site, Mr. Wesley Copeland's obsessed with it.
He loves it, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. I think it helps if you're kind of a Marvel fan as well, because he's literally replaying the campaign, isn't he, with all the different characters?
Yeah.
Which is like, that's, if that's your bag, then I think.
Well, he was telling me that he can get a character to level 60 in a day, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it?
How
much time are you spending doing that?
Well, exactly,
that's
but I don't know
incredible.
whether he's got like some, once you've finished it once, because I think once you finish it, you can then unlock it on higher levels, and of course then if you're doing it on a harder difficulty, then you can, you're getting more XP, you're getting better loot, that kind of thing, but...
Yeah. No, fair enough.
I played Diablo 3 on the 360, and I really, really, really enjoyed that game. But it got to a stage, where I was like playing it, and I was on like my kind of fourth run through of the campaign, doing it on like nightmare difficulty or whatever. I just kind of got halfway through it and was like, yeah, I'm done now. I'm playing the same campaign over and over. I'm kind of done. And I think that's what'll happen with this game as well. I'll just go, yeah, I'm done now. I've seen all I need to see of it, and I'm not that keen on doing any more with it. But we'll see. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Diablo 3, I'm currently playing the DLC, the Rise of the Necromancer, and going back to that game after all this time, it's still the probably the best
it's cracking.
kind of game in that style. And the new class is just amazing. So going from that to Marvel, it might be quite interested now to see what it's like. So I might give it a go.
That's
but yeah.
It's also just been launched on Xbox One as well now, because it's been in beta for a while on PS4, hasn't it? And then the full launch happened Saturday,
right?
And at the same time, it's launched on Xbox One as well, because my son was watching me play it, and he was like, "Well, can I play it?" And I was actually, yeah, you can. It's free to download on the Xbox. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, shifting the focus back to the PlayStation 4, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I've not played it.
It's what. No, but it's good. It's good to be back on the PlayStation. Like, it's good to have him back. It's exactly as you remember it. Well, some people might not remember it being as it is. There's been I went on Twitter yesterday and I saw it trending how hard Crash is now. Was it ever that hard? And it's a weird one, because like when I was younger, I must have just been used to that kind of style of gameplay. But the first game especially, it is pretty difficult. And there's one level which killed me. And you've probably seen it. It's the bridge, where there's that big bridge and there's like two warthogs running up and down it, and there's like panels missing, and you have to judge your jumping spot on to try and get past it. And that infuriated me like nothing else I've played in a long time. and I can't remember that level being particularly difficult. But then there's like, I think I've not tried it yet, but people are like running on the ropes at the side, like, and I'm sure like that pissed me off because I would have just done that in the first place. But yeah, it's good. It's good to have it back. It looks a lot better. It looks a million times better than it used to, but obviously it's going to. It's a true remaster. It's visually been updated no end. It looks really good. There's so much detail in everything. However, everything's exactly as it used to be. Every box is in the same place. Every enemy's kind of in the same place. Every obstacle, everything. And across all three games, there's some fantastic level design. Bar the boulder that you run that's chasing you. That's the worst for me. Just because visually you're jumping into oblivion, and you don't know where you're going only until the last second. But that's always been there, and you can't really criticise the game for being difficult when it had always kind of been like that. It's great to have it back, and the second and third game are probably my favourite because they incorporate a lot of new things to it. There's like different kind of levels where you're racing or you're underwater and you're using like this scuba gear. Or there's the baby T-Rex you get to ride in the third one. The levels are a lot nicer. There's a lot more varied. Just the way the games are laid out in the first two, I think. The second two, sorry, are really good. But yeah, it's good to have it back. And I've said that about 5 times.
Is it good to have it back, Chris? Are you pleased that it's back?
Do you know what? I've not thought about it, but probably yes. Yeah.
See, I'm a bit lukewarm about this. Like, because I played Crash. I think I've only played the first one. I don't remember playing the second and third one. And I was just a bit like, and I'm still a bit like, I haven't really got any desire to go back and play it. Probably because I know that it'll be too hard for me now, because I've got old.
Well, it is good to have back, but I don't think I would. See, my dad loves games. He absolutely, and he loves Crash. He loves Spyro. He loves Croc. He's got Gex. He's a proper like PlayStation mascot platformer. He loves them all, and I reckon he'd buy this in a heartbeat. He probably already got it. I don't know if I would have bought this. Because yes, I do love Crash, but I don't know. I'm not when it was announced. I was expecting a sequel, like a new game, where they've got a lot more freedom. Not open world. It doesn't have to be open world. It can be like the faux open world we used to in like Uncharted, where there's a massive. I love to have a massive plane, like Mario 64 in a way, where you can explore, but there's still a path to follow. I would have much preferred to see that in a new game, and because I've played all the Crashes before. But however, now I have got it and I've reviewed it. It is nice to be playing it again. Oh fucking hell, I'm saying it in a different. But yeah, it's a nice.
It's nice
to
have
game.
Baco, isn't it, Chris? It's
nice
to have it back.
Top. Bloody is nice to have back. And we'll stop that there. But yeah,
what do you think? What do you think, Gary? Is it nice to have it back?
I think it must be.
All right. One of the things I missed from the last pod was Unit, as always.
Well, obviously. Yeah.
But also, we never got a chance to talk about Minecraft. And what kind of... I really just want you to let go and just tell people, because obviously there's a lot of complaining about, like, why has it got like 4K? Why is it having a graphics texture remaster? It's just blocks in it, like, which we all know is bullshit.
It's just Lego, isn't it? It's just Lego.
Yeah, we all know it. It's so much more than that. But you are the biggest Minecraft fan.
I adore Minecraft.
I know.
I absolutely adore it.
So I just want you to talk about how you felt with it all, and
what with the E3 stuff. I just thought it was really exciting, and I know that. I mean, there was a bit of a grumble, wasn't there? Going, oh god, Microsoft showing Minecraft again, and I was like, well, yeah, it's a huge game. It's a huge game. I mean, they paid $2 billion for it. It's massive.
A lot.
It's a monstrous game. And I just think, well, of course they're going to show it. And, I think they're doing some interesting things with it, in fairness. I mean, I don't actually play any of the minigame stuff because
no,
I'm rubbish at it, and that isn't really what I like about Minecraft. But all of that stuff's really cool. I've had a go at it, and like some of the arenas that have been designed are just they're stunning, and I love it. Kids are obsessed with it, and I think it's just such a lovely game. It's so simple. It's just, I mean, I think it's honestly one of the most beautiful games. When you're just kind of walking about and the sun's setting. Yeah. It's a stunning game. It's so beautiful.
I completely agree.
And the idea that they're going to do cross-play with it blew my mind, quite frankly, because I just think, that's so amazing. Like my son, who doesn't really like Minecraft, but I'll use him as an anecdote anyway, gets to play it with his pals at school who don't have an Xbox but have got it on Switch, and now they can play together. I just think it's fantastic, that idea of bringing everybody together. And I think it's a real shame that Sony haven't bought into this, and I don't know what their rationale is. And I know on Twitter there was lots of people saying, well, of course they're not going to buy into it because it's a Microsoft product. But Sony are also not doing crossplay for Rocket League, and that isn't a Microsoft product. So, they do have this block or an issue with crossplay, and I think, to be honest, that's not doing Sony any favours in my mind.
I agree, because I've got it on PlayStation. I'd like to go cross-play with other people, but I'm not going to be able to. And I think it is a foolish move.
Unless they change their mind, but I can't see that at the moment, because they seem to be digging themselves into a bit of a ditch with it, don't they? With the sort of slight where, what's his face, your man, I've forgotten his name, sort of made a suggestion that that Microsoft didn't take security seriously, and that they, Sony weren't going to let their PSN players be at risk, and I just thought, hang on a second, that's a real big dig at Microsoft, and I think it was unnecessary, really. And I saw the interview that Phil Spencer did on with Giant Bomb, where he kind of responded to that, and you can see that he was really cross about that, and rightly so, because I think that was an unfair dig. From, I've forgotten his name. Who was the Sony fella who said that? He's also said something else a bit daft, hasn't he, recently? But anywho, and also, I think getting Minecraft in 4K is really exciting. And I know, again, people are like sneering at that, going, "Oh, what? So you're just going to be able to see the blocks in high def?" And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be good.
But you see it. You saw the demo they showed of it. And it looks a million times better. Yeah. And it is still blocks, but it's not just about blocks.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Chris.
I don't understand what people's problem is with it.
I'm thumping the table and everything. And I also get the criticism that I've seen a few snarks on Twitter where people are saying, "Oh yeah, man, so you get to use a graphics upgrade mod that you get on PC." Not everybody has the PC to be able to run those graphic mods. My PC's pretty good, but I tell you what, when I stick one of them graphics mods onto Minecraft on my PC, it chuffing churns. They're quite resource intensive. Those whatever they are, visual upgrade mods. I can't even think what they're called.
Yeah.
So, not everybody has that opportunity, and the fact that you're going to see that, you're going to get to see Minecraft in 4K. I think it's actually really quite exciting. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Because I got really excited when 4J Studios said that they were going to start introducing texture packs, to Minecraft. Because one of the big things that I like to do on the PC version of Minecraft is to mess about with the texture packs, because it just completely then changes the way the game looks. And, I'll be honest, the ones that they've released on the console are nowhere near the quality of some of the ones that you can download on PC, but they do still add a fun element to to the worlds that you build. And I quite like sometimes, switching between the various packs that I own. I own pretty much all of them. Switching between the packs that I own, just to see what my build looks like in a different pack. And I don't know, I just really enjoy it. And I've been playing it again, and I've got llamas, and I'm just really happy. I found some polar bears the other day. I found a polar bear, and it had 4 babies. And I was just I was really chuffed. Took a picture and everything. I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I love the game. It's amazing.
Do you think, I mean, I don't think this is part of it, but do you think they'll ever introduce a mode where you can download other players' creations and then go and explore them? Because
I think, actually, part of this upgrade that's coming is going to introduce that, because I gather, like, if you play on Windows 10, let me just explain. So I play it on the Java build of it.
Yes,
I've got more hours than I care to think in that game, but I've also got the Windows 10 version, which I sometimes play as well. Now, in the Windows 10 version and also in the Java version, you've got this thing called Realms.
Right.
And they're kind of like, I think in fact, I don't quite understand what they are, but I think it's kind of like hosting a server. Like if you were playing on the Java version, you could like host a server and then have that open. As long as people had the IP address, you could then go and play together. Realms is a way of doing that, and I do believe that Realms update into the console versions is going to give the opportunity, or provide the opportunity, for people to then create worlds that you can then download and play. Because on the Windows 10 version, there are a number of maps that you can download already, like the Redstone Mansion one that I think Yogscast did. They've done a review of sort of the Redstone Mansion, and it's like a bit of a adventure game where you kind of move through this mansion, and then I think you end up fighting like the Wither or something at the end. I can't remember exactly, but I know that you can buy and download that map on Windows 10. They've got another one called Buccaneer Bay or something, which looks to be like a pirate pirate town that I haven't bought. I make sure my credit card's nowhere near. So I think, and I'm totally maybe talking out my arse here, but I think that's what is going to happen when they open up, and add Realms into the console versions. You're going to be able to get access to that as well, because what they're trying to do is to bring all of the versions together, aren't they? So that, whether you're playing it on Windows 10 or whether you're playing it on the Xbox One or the Switch or whatever, you're playing the same version now. Because as it is, I think like the console version is slightly behind other versions. Oh, actually, I'm telling a lie. The latest update actually brought it all in line so that every version is now the same. So you've got the same, access to blocks, you've got the same mobs, all of that. It's all the same now. Because I believe the next update is the big one, the bringing everybody together update or whatever it is, when you then get the cross-play stuff. So,
do you have a date for that yet?
I don't. I got the impression it was sort of August-ish time.
Yeah, right.
End of summer. Don't know. Not soon enough. Can't wait.
No, no, that's cool. And let's end on a positive, because we started on a fairly negative with Micro Machines, and we all love Minecraft. So there you go.
Yay.
So thank you for listening, everyone. You can always, as always, support us via our Patreon at patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. We've got there's a lot of focus on videos at the moment. We're trying to get a lot more videos done for you. We started exclusive. We started a new series called Multiplay, which me and Adam had a bash on Battlegrounds. And oh my god, I've never played that game before, but it's amazing. So that's quite interesting, and we're doing a lot more stuff. So yeah, you can back us there. You can back put as little as £1 in, or as much as you want. and just help support us get new content out and get us to events to cover for you, because there's a lot more games coming out in October and September on that, which are going to be great. So yeah, help us there. You can follow us all on Twitter. Gary is at BlueFury47.
Yep.
Nicola is at wavy_gravy, or with an E, and I'm at First Avenger 83. And God is a Geek is obviously at God is a Geek. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and speak to you all later. Thank you guys for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.